Broncos on three. 1, 2, 3, photo.
Flag easy to throw from the air. Caught, touchdown.
He scores! How about it, Denver? Touchdown, Denver Broncos. Here we go. He's gone. And down he goes.
Live from Jackson's All-American Sports Grill, it's the Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan. Here's Tony Zarella and Dave Logan.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Mike, coming off the loss to Baltimore yesterday, and one of the first things you said, if not the first thing after the game, was you tip your hat, you give them credit, but you also believe you could have done some things better coaching-wise, playing-wise. How much do you take on yourself, and how much credit do you give them?
Well, first of all, we had some opportunities in the first half to put them away, and all the games we play aren't going to be high-scoring games. We've got to find a way to win those football games when it's 13-13 in the fourth quarter. And you just got to go back and look at yourself from a coaching standpoint. The players got to be tough on themselves, so presented with the same opportunity, we take advantage of it.
You know, Mike, anytime, and you would know better than I, but anytime you play a great team, you usually get a handful of opportunities to make plays. And you think if you go back and look at that game, you guys probably did, especially in the first half.
Yeah, we did. We had 3 or 4, opportunities there in the first half. We were inside the 50-yard line. We only got 3 points out of it. And when you get the ball on their side of the 50, you've got to get at least 10, 13 points, not even counting the first touchdown we had. So at halftime, probably should have been 20-3 somewhere in that area, and came back to haunt us.
Mike, you also don't make excuses, and you don't want players thinking, well, if we had this guy back or if we had Ed McCaffrey down the stretch, he's been known to make tough catches.
Don't talk about it.
Okay. Right, but you know, Rod Smith said after the game yesterday that, obviously in those situations, players have to step up.
Yeah, you do. We're going to lose some players during the season like every football team, and guys got to step up and get the job done. And I'm still looking for our offense to come back after losing a guy like Ed or losing a guy, whoever you lose during the season, but you lose a guy like TD. But I'll really be surprised if we don't rebound in the right direction coming this Sunday.
You had said going in, actually you even said last year that the Ravens defense was the best that you had seen since you'd been in the league. After looking back on yesterday's game on film, did they play to their potential?
Yeah, they really did. I thought we went with a little different game plan, obviously, to throw the ball a little bit more, and we thought we could take advantage of their coverages. But that pass rush was a little bit better than I had anticipated, even being at home. We had a few opportunities to get some plays, but never did materialize.
Did they change anything significantly in the second half? It seemed like Brian was on the run a little bit more in the second half.
Usually great defenses really don't change. They'll have 1 or 2 little wrinkles like offenses do. When you take a look at the Dallas Cowboys in their heyday with the great defenses, or the Giants, or right now with the Ravens, great defenses make a couple little adjustments here or there, but they're very sound and they play quite well.
Well, the Ravens left town 20-13 in the final. Let's recap.
A glorious September afternoon.
Nobody seen nothing like this defense. We're going to prove it once again today.
So it's payback. What more can you ask for to be in your backyard with the Baltimore Ravens, baby? We love it. They're ready, we're ready. It'll be very interesting.
To be the best, you got to beat the best. 1, 2, 3. Win.
Gerbach play fakes, pressured, throws, pass intercepted. Chester McLaughlin's got it inside the 10-yard line. So Greasy's first play from scrimmage, a strike to Dwayne Carswell. And the Broncos start with a bang at Invesco Field. Pass going to be caught by Travis Taylor. He breaks the tackle. Taylor at midfield. That's a play of 63 yards. Stover, a Pro Bowl kicker last year, knocks it through. Wide open. Greasy's got the crossing route. This is going to be caught by Desmond Clark. So it's Jason Elam time. Denver extends their lead to 10-3. Gerbach to throw. He throws right side. Pass is going to be caught. This is an attempt of 26 yards. And it is good.
So 10-6, the kind of game that Baltimore likes to play.
Pass over the middle, bobble, but gathered in by Desmond Clark, who spins away, fumbles the football. That is the first Bronco turnover of the year. Halftime in Invesco Field at Mile High, the Broncos 10, the world champion Ravens 6.
0-0 right now. We win this half, we win the game.
Broncos have the opening drive going. Pass is going to be caught. Smith makes one miss, makes two miss. Rod's going to be inside the 40-yard line. Nealon with plenty of leg, and it is perfect. Nothing there. Now rolls to his right. Dumps one that is deflected and picked off. There's the first interception of the year by Brian Greasy. Gerback steps up, throws a fade left side for Ishmael. He's got a Raven touchdown. Brian Greasy has been harassed today. And Denver's defense has got to dig in here. Like him or not, Shannon Sharp knows how to play the game. In a big, big hole. Gerback rolls to his right, throws to the end zone. It is a touchdown. Greasy throws left side. Rod Smith's got it. Smith's going to be into Baltimore territory. 4th and 1. Bryant, short drop, throws. The ball deflected. Desmond Clark wasn't looking. 3-man rush. Bryant steps up, throws. Pass is going to be picked off. The Ravens have come into Denver and shown why they are world champions.
Mike, a lot of people talking about the 4th and 1 call. Obviously, they're the toughest defense to run against in the league. If you had to do it again, if you're in that situation, would you try to run the ball?
Well, we study those down and distances quite a bit, and normally, you know, we do run the football, but we thought it was a situation with our 5 wide receivers set that it was something that was almost automatic for us. We had a chance for a big play, so I do the same thing.
You said earlier that maybe you got more pass rush from the Ravens than you expected or that you thought you might get, and I thought they did a pretty good job most of the day of making Brian Greasy move around a little bit.
Yeah, they really did. Some good stunts and some good pressure. They've got some obviously big defensive tackles that do a great job with their quickness, and when you do get 1-on-1, they have an opportunity to really put some pressure on the quarterback. And if I had to do it all over again, you can always second guess yourself. You know, you want to slow that pass rush down. But obviously what we did wasn't good enough, and hopefully we'll get a shot at him again.
That pass right there, the Starks interception for Greasy, the first pick of the year against him. He had another one later in the game. But that one right there, uncharacteristic of Brian. Was he trying to force something on that play?
No, it's not uncharacteristic. Those things are going to happen. You know, the ball was tipped up in the air. You know, just like, you know, it's going to happen during the season. Sometimes it's going to hit a shoulder pad. Other time it's going to hit somebody's hands. It's going to be deflected. And you never want to make those turnovers, especially down there in your area against a great football team. But we did, and we couldn't hold them out of the end zone.
You know, defensive, we've talked a lot about your offense, but defensively you got off to a great start. First play from scrimmage, and Chester McLaughlin picks off Elvis Gerback. And not look at this play and talk about it, but also talk about the overall play of your defense.
Well, you know, I thought we really played hard, and all of a sudden, right at the end of the game, they had that long drive, and obviously right there, Chester was double teamed, felt Elvis going back and, you know, keyed his eyes and made obviously a nice interception there. We got to work with his run after the catch there and ball security, but that was a big play. We got up 7-zip right away, and obviously a great athletic move right there. But we just didn't put them away. Like I said, early in the game we had a chance 3 or 4 times to come up with some points, and we didn't. Then at the end, when we had to make a play, we just didn't do it on either side of the football.
Well, next up, Chester and Elvis's former team, the Kansas City Chiefs, coming to town. We're going to look ahead to them when the Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan continues from Jackson's right after this.
The Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan has been brought to you by Coors Light, by First Bank, the Colorado Bank for you, and by Jackson's All-American Sports Grill. Coming up, we'll get a player's point of view. But first, we'll take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs when the Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan continues.
It's a wide open touchdown.
All right, welcome back. Kansas City Chiefs coming to town next Sunday. Mike, obviously within the division, but always a tough game against these guys.
It is. They always play us good, and, you know, they're coming off a big win. I think they had about 550 yards against Washington and held them about 215. So they're playing with a lot of emotion and played quite well.
Trent Green, the quarterback now, how much of a difference in the offense with Dick Vermeil as the head coach and Trent Green as the quarterback do you see?
He's got a great sense of timing, and they're starting to come together. And I mean, anytime you get over 500 yards, it just kind of gives you an idea what type of potential they do have. But I'm sure Trent's kind of getting used to the system and getting a feel for the players that he's playing with, and obviously playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Mike, even with Trent and Vermeil, this was one of the teams you didn't hear a lot of people talking about in the preseason. Everybody's talking about you guys and the Raiders. And
well, talk is cheap. You got to go out there and get it done. And, like I said, they lost a couple tough games playing the Giants and playing the Raiders, and then they came back, played well on the road, and we know we're going to get their best shot, and it's always a tough physical football game.
You also know, I would think, what you're going to get from the Chiefs defense, because your former coordinator, Greg Robinson, is now the head guy in that department. What do you expect, and how will that be?
Well, what Greg does is really kind of shows a lot of different defense. He's really a pressure package guy. He'll bring 7, 8 guys. He'll come after you. A lot of different fronts, a lot of different coverages, trying to, throw the quarterback off balance. And, they've been doing an excellent job. They've come up with a lot of big plays.
Yeah, there's already been some speculation that other teams are going to look at what the Ravens did yesterday to pressure Brian. Does that mean little or nothing? I say you're laughing. I mean, does that mean little or nothing? Because I would imagine few teams can execute it as well as the Ravens.
I hope they do. I hope they give us the same package that the Ravens gave us. Very base package, and usually against that type of defense, when you do have time, you can come up with some big plays. But I guarantee it won't look nothing like the Ravens.
Yeah, I would say most people don't have the Ravens' talent, at least in the front 7.
Well, you can. Not many people can get that type of pressure with the front 4 consistently to give an offense that tough of a day. But Kansas City does it a little different. I mean, they'll put some pressure on you, but usually it's with an 8 or 9-man rush.
Well, usually when the Broncos and Chiefs score off, it's a pretty tight one, which makes our next guest as important as ever. Jason Elam joining us here at Jackson's when the huddle continues right after this break.
Limousine service provided by Denver Lincoln Limousine, a safety-certified provider. Mike Shanahan's wardrobe provided by Andreessen Morton, offering Denver's largest selection of fine men's clothing in Cherry Creek North. We'll be joined by the Huddle All-Star when the Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan continues.
Elam with plenty of leg, and it is...
Hey now, you're an all-star.
Elam's kick. It's a line drive. It's got enough distance. It is good! 63 yards!
Well, Jason Elam is working on a Hall of Fame career, too, and you just don't... There's always a kicker, and I hate to bring that up.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hi, welcome back, Jason Elam. You saw that clip and you chuckled. I mean, is that one of those things that you probably never see now, and when you do, you get a kick out of it? No pun intended. I'm not trying to do comedy here, but
yeah, that was something that I'll always remember, and I kind of relive it a lot of times. People ask me about it a lot, so it's kind of fun to see it.
Watching your career, I thought you hit in the preseason your kickoffs maybe the best that you ever have. Do you agree? And if so, what do you attribute that to?
I think so. I think I probably had the best training camp I've had since I've been here, and I'm trying to do the little things right this year as far as icing after I kick and stretching a lot, and I worked real hard this off season, and actually Steve Lindsay, who was my competition during training camp, gave me a pretty good tip during training camp, and I tried it, and it seems to be working. So hopefully I can keep it going.
And you feel obviously much better than you did a year ago. I mean, no comparison in terms of health.
Oh, well, yeah, this time last year I didn't feel very good, so, I feel really good right now, and, like I said, hopefully I can keep it going.
Mike, everybody talks about kickers, and they're interchangeable, and there's so many guys that can do the job, and yet I'm sure you value what it's like to have a guy who really is a weapon that you can count on, not only to kick the ball off, but at a crucial time, hit a 40 or 45, 47-yard field goal, too.
Every time Jason goes into a game, he has such confidence, and I think it's by him being in the league, being put in pressure situations, and coming through. But what you mentioned, a lot of people don't know how important it is those kickoffs. And not only is he kicking the ball through the uprights, but he's been so consistent kicking off, and that really helps our coverage teams.
Mike, obviously you don't give away plays even at the end of a half in a game that you guys are winning handily. So when you line him up to try a 64, 65-yarder, I guess you expect him to make it. Is he going to be in that situation to break that record again?
Well, you just missed it by a couple of feet in the first game, and it's really, you can only do it in certain situations, because I had a lot of confidence in Jason. He could kick a 65-yarder, but I wasn't really sure about their kicker coming back and kicking a 63-yarder. I mentioned, you know, that happened with 7 seconds on the clock, and I was hoping the end of the half was going to obviously go to the end, but it didn't happen. We gave them a chance to kick a 63-yarder. So those opportunities don't come very often, and he almost took advantage of it again.
You know, you've got to, during the course of the game, I mean, all the players are emotionally involved in their particular position and the units and everything. You've got to try to, I would guess, separate yourself from all of that and just kind of concentrate on whenever your job comes up.
Yeah, I mean, I try to not get all caught up in the emotion of the game. I try to keep, you know, a very even keel emotion level, and just try to concentrate on some of the mechanics of the kick and just keep myself calm, and, you know, that's about it. Just don't get consumed by the moment.
But people understand every second or third week that we practice, we try a 64, 65-yarder, and he probably kicks them about 80% of the time. So he's got the confidence that if we're in that situation that he's done it in practice, and he's just looking for that opportunity.
So it's a matter of time then before you break this record.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. The one thing is I do feel prepared, and Coach puts me through all the different situations that I might be in a game, and that's good, you know. And I do. And every time I go on the field, I've been put through that situation during practice, so I feel confident about it.
Thanks for coming on. Have you ever been to the Hall of Fame, by the way, to see the exhibit that you're in?
Haven't
you
been
think
there
you ever
yet.
will?
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks
for coming on. Jason Elam, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after this break.
Players appearing on the Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan will receive a gift certificate, compliments of Frontier Airlines, your always affordable hometown choice. We'll get some parting thoughts when the Broncos Huddle continues.
Ravens have come into Denver and shown why they are world champions.
He came in as an underrated defensive lineman from Minnesota.
I was a 12th round draft pick. I, was thinking maybe I could hang on a couple of years and pay my way to medical school and become a doctor. And, things clicked. I was in the right place at the right time. I had a great team around me. I had some skills that they wanted to use here. And, 12 years later, I got out of it.
Right place, right time. Even though he may have been in the wrong place when he delivered his most memorable hit on Marcus Allen.
And that was the first game I ever started. That's the first game I ever played linebacker in my life. And actually, I got a minus on assignment and a plus on technique on that because I wasn't supposed to be where I was. But I did a good job once I got there. So that was a big play.
Mecklenburg says he's honored to be part of such an elite group. Number 77 paid the price.
A lot of hard work went into it, and it's been fun. It's been wonderful, and to be singled out like that is just a great honor.
Maybe one of the hardest hitters ever, Dennis Smith is now a Ring of Famer also.
I hit somebody and they didn't fumble the ball or got right up, I'm disappointed with myself because I know I didn't hit them hard enough, because when I hit people, I expected the ball to come out first and I expected them to stay on the ground, not get right up.
These days, he misses the fans more than anything else. The fans who loved watching 14 years of bone-crunching football. Smith defined slobber-knocking every week.
I look at Carl's career. He has one defining moment where he smacks Marcus Allen. I look at Steve Atwater. He has one defining moment where he just kills Christian McCoy. All great plays, but there's never been just one defining moment of play on me. And I thought about it and I said, well, it's because I got him laid out all over this field.
Thank you for all the wonderful memories. God bless. God bless.
Well, obviously two great players for this franchise, and Mike, you spent some time around both those guys.
Really do. Two great football players, class acts. But I was with the Raiders, and I didn't realize how good they were until I became the head coach there and had a game plan against them. And then you realize how talented they are, because when you're with them, you really don't realize what great football players they are.
Mike and Jason, you can answer this too if you want. Before you go, it seems like they've made a deal with the car dealership to keep the Super Bowl in New Orleans for that February 3rd week. How important was it, in your opinion, to stay with the 12 teams instead of going to 8?
Well, we were hoping they were going to keep the full playoff picture, and we weren't sure what direction they were going to go, but I think it keeps everybody into it, into the last week of the season, so I think it's a big plus.
And obviously with the playoffs, I mean, the more teams, really, the better.
The more chance you have.
All right, thanks. Jason, thanks again for coming on the show. Mike, we'll be talking as we go close in on the Chiefs game. And everybody, thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Gerbach play fakes, pressured, throws, pass intercepted. Chester McLaughlin's got it inside the 10.
The Broncos Huddle with Mike Shanahan has been brought to you by Coors Light, by First Bank, the Colorado Bank for you, and by Jackson's All-American Sports Grill.
Together, we will win, baby. Let's get it, guys. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
This is Broncos Tonight, September 30th, 2001.
And this is why Mike Shanahan called the Bronco defense the best he's ever seen. They're unbelievable, but it would have been nice to have Eddie Mack. You get the feeling the Broncos and Ravens will meet again. Unfortunately, it may be in Baltimore. These two teams that good. And even early in the season, the game might have been that big. As expected, the Broncos with Greasy healthy, much better than they were last December. But they weren't good enough.
Nobody seen nothing like this defense. We're going to prove it once again today. We're tired of showing people every Sunday that we the rawest thing out. So we'll do it one more time. We here today, baby. We here today. We have got to dominate. We got to get this win.
To be the best, you got to beat the best, man. Let's come out and play 60 minutes, start to finish. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
The Broncos had waited 9 months for this rematch, and this time it was their defense setting the tone early.
Pass intercepted. Chester McLaughlin's got it inside the 10-yard line. McLaughlin's inside the 5 and close to the end. Greasy, short drop, throws, left side pass is going to be caught. That is a Denver touchdown.
7-0 Broncos 20 seconds into the game. But once both teams settled down, the yards would come at a premium. In fact, the Ravens would hit it big only once in the first half.
He breaks the tackle. Taylor at midfield, 45, 40. Walker's chasing.
But they could not find the end zone. The first half turning into a battle of field goals.
Stover, a Pro Bowl kicker last year, knocks it through. Elam puts the foot into it and drives it directly through the upright.
The Broncos up 10-6 as they hit the locker room at halftime.
1 half, baby. We got 30 minutes to go. 30 minutes to go. We got to keep it up.
They would need at least 10 more, as it turned out, in the second half.
Mike with a nice bit of shifty running between the... Smith makes 1 miss, makes 2 miss. Rod's going to be inside the 40. Elam from 48 yards out. And the Broncos, on their opening possession of the third quarter, have put 3 more points on the board.
But those 3 points were their final 3 points as the Broncos offense started to slip and the Ravens took advantage.
There's the first interception of the year by Brian Greasy. Gerbach steps up, throws a fade left side for Ishmael. He's got a Raven touchdown. He beat Denard Walker, and again, a perfectly thrown football. And Brian Greasy running for his life.
The Ravens defense looking every bit like the best defense in the NFL, and in the fourth, their offense came alive.
Right side, Sharp's got it again, and he's got a first down. Big hole inside the 20. Gerbach rolls to his right, throws to the end zone. It is a touchdown.
The Broncos still had their chances, including a crucial 4th and 1 on the Baltimore 19 with 5 minutes left.
Bryant, short drop throws, the ball deflected. Desmond Clark wasn't looking.
They would never see the red zone again. 20-13, the Ravens win the rematch. The Broncos walk off, hoping a third shot, which would come in the postseason, would be the charm.
He was one of the most flamboyant and colorful Broncos ever. He backed up almost everything he dished out. And today, he returned to his old home to face his old friends. And as Blake Olson explains, Shannon Sharpe was the key to the Ravens' success at the new stadium.
Nice to be back. Nice to be back.
Shannon Sharpe returned to the Mile High City.
Number of great memories here.
Sharpe was ready to create more.
They're ready, we're ready. It'll be very interesting.
Tied in a familiar name to Denver fans, Shannon Sharpe, 6'2".
Despite some boos, the 12-year vet received a warm welcome from start to finish.
They gave me a lot of cheers. It was kind of mixed. I kind of wanted them to boost it. That way I could, get upset and say, okay, when I catch a pass or something, get up and celebrate. But they kind of cheered, and I was like, okay, well, I can't do it. I can't be and I can't be what I want to be. So I just might as well just graciously accept it. And they did. Everything went well.
Be caught and wide open to Shannon Sharpe.
Playing near his first professional stadium and performing in front of his old adoring fans was nice. But the best part of the day for Sharpe came in the fourth quarter.
Right side pass gathered in by...
I've been in this situation so many times in the stadium right across the street. And when John would count on me and Mike and Gary would come to me and say, hey, 84, step up and make some plays. And today, Matt said the same thing. So we need you to step up and make some plays. And I say, call my number and I'm ready.
5 catches for 50 yards. But Sharpe was much more impressed by his teammates' play on defense.
And Brian Griese running for his life.
You cannot drive 80, 90 yards and beat that defense. You cannot do it. So stop.
Second down pop to Gary over the middle, and he is blasted.
Here's a Bronco team that was averaging, 100 points, 500 yards, and their offense looked kind of like ours. I mean, what?
Blake, thank you. We'll take a tour around the rest of the West coming up. Plus, Adam Schefter of the Post joins us. Stay with us.
Ain't nobody seen nothing like this defense. We're going to prove it once again today.
A good battle between two AFC heavyweights.
You got to take your head off to Baltimore. They came out, they played a good football game. They just outplayed us. No excuse. They came out and they got the win.
Baltimore giving up only 61 yards per game on the ground.
You look at all the talent they have over there, and they're going to bring it and keep bringing it all game long, and you just got to withstand it and try to match them blow for blow. But we came up a little short today.
Man, there is just not many seams to run through against this Raven defense.
This team just got to get downhill because those guys are coming at you. The only way you can, just penetrate their defense is just get right downhill right now and maybe try to go sideways, and they blow you up every time.
That's going to be another sack. And Brian Griese running for his life.
We have to play close to a perfect game, just like anybody else. The only other way you're going to beat the team is to get lucky. And I don't play with luck. I play with skill, and hopefully we'll get another shot.
The Ravens have come into Denver and shown why they are world champions.
But I wanted to win. We all wanted to win, and it didn't happen. So we have to go back to the drawing board, and we have another team next week.
Adam Schefter of the Post joining us now, and pretty much what we expected, the big story before the game, the big story after the game, the Ravens defense.
Well, Rod, I think that they showed today they clearly are the best unit in football. Everyone knew that the Broncos offense was dominant early on in the season and is one of the top units in football, but I think after today everyone can obviously conclude that Baltimore's defense is the single best unit in football. They were so strong all day today. Everything that the Broncos tried to do, ends arounds and empty backfields and 5 wide receiver sets, running the ball at the middle, nothing worked. You can't run the ball against this defense. They give up 61 yards per game on average, and you saw what they gave up today, 61 yards again.
And that first touchdown, Brian Griese said that They didn't get that 6. The defense got that 6. They got 6 total. Obviously, this defense just dominated.
Well, it's amazing. You think back today to the Broncos' scoring output. Their first touchdown drive lasted all of 3 yards, and it was their only touchdown drive of the game. If you would have thought that at the beginning, when they had a tone setter like they did with Chester McLaughlin intercepting Gerback, you would have thought that that would have set the tone for the day, and it didn't.
They said in the locker room afterwards, this Baltimore team is not unbeatable. You got to play a nearly perfect game to beat them, and the Broncos were not able to do that.
Well, they're unbeatable to the Broncos right now. I think that Baltimore is a little bit inside their heads right now. Denver cannot rush the ball against this defense. They are too strong, too fast, too good everywhere. I think that everyone knew that they were tough, but I don't think that everyone realized that their linebackers tackle the way that they do, and they're as fast as they are, and the secondary covers the way they do. They were great today. They were really great, and I think people forgot after Baltimore lost to Cincinnati last week that they're still the world champions, and until someone takes away their belt, they will continue to be the world champs.
Last year, the Broncos lost, but they were without Brian Griese. Much was made of that. Brian comes in, and for the first time this season, actually struggled.
Well, it didn't make much difference that he was back in the lineup, and in all fairness to him, there was a ton of pressure on him today. The Broncos' offensive line allowed 1 sack in the first 2 games this year. Today, the Ravens had 5 sacks, 5 times the total that the Broncos allowed in the first 2 games. Griese did not have the time, did not look sharp, was a little bit rattled back there, and look, he was playing against the best defense in all of football. Last year when they played Baltimore, they had 9 first downs all game long with Gus Frerotte. Today with Griese, the difference was 4 more first downs. They had 13 overall. So the difference was not tremendous. I think they had 51 more total yards today than they did last December. And really, if you take away the first touchdown that we had touched on earlier, the Broncos offense essentially did nothing.
They weren't going to go 16-0. Brian said afterwards in the locker room that if you're going to lose early and learn from it. Good point.
Well, I think that there's something to be learned from that, but the fact remains is they have to show that they can beat this Baltimore team. We talked about Elvis Gerback before. Elvis Gerback now has won his last 5 starts against the Denver Broncos, and obviously Elvis Gerback's former team, the Kansas City Chiefs, are coming to Denver Sunday for what now
perched a mile above the rest of the football world. It was a place of October blizzards, and golden January sunshine. Dynasties were defeated here. While others who sought glory in the rarefied air left wrecked and ruined. And finally, a player came to lead his team to the heights of football greatness, fulfilling the promise of this mountain home and lifting the hearts of millions of mile-high dreamers.